Hello, and welcome to Spicy Toast Gaming. Thank you for tuning in to Spicy Toast Gaming and her video on some of the most aggravating cards in Path of Champions. Now, this is in no means a exhaustive list. There's going to be plenty of other cards that are also frustrating. Feel free to comment down below what cards annoy you the most in Path of Champions, but this is just a list of some of the ones that bother me the most. So first, we have Egghead Researcher, but really this is just all of the capture cards. Now that Iceborne Gauntlet, also the Landmarks, they also have their own version of Iceborne Gauntlet. These cards are incredibly frustrating. In the Galio Adventure, there is 3 or 4 different opponents that have it. The Spiderlings have it, Targon's Peak, and there might be one other one. So what happens is they play these cards, it captures your strongest unit. It happens immediately. Since it doesn't count as a spell or skill, it goes straight through your spell shield. So you might be sitting there with a really important champion, the thing you need to win the game. You've put all of your upgrades into getting this champion as powerful as possible. So you might be playing like a Jax or Diana deck, Teemo, LeBlanc. One of these ones wins very early. Then they throw down these cards. I think they're all 2 cost, all the capture cards, and they just immediately take away the one card that you need to win the game. And if you don't have any way to remove that card, they're just going to protect it and you're never getting your champion back. And since it's such a cheap card, sometimes then you'll play like another Teemo and they capture that as well. So it's very frustrating. If you've seen any of my Galio playthroughs, you've probably heard me complain about these cards. So next we have the Blinded Mystic. So this is in a couple of different Targon adventures. I think this one is the adventure or the battle where they're healing everyone. But similar to the capture cards, this one is annoying because their play effect doesn't count as a skill. So again, it goes straight through your spell shields. The good thing is this can only silence a follower. But again, you have a follower you've really buffed up. You've put a lot of items on. They play this, all that's gone, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Even if the person's protected with Spell Shield, does not care. That's why Spell Shield, what Spell Shield? It doesn't matter. You have unit protected as much as you can, still just gets rid of all of that, which is why it's one of the most aggravating cards to me. This is probably one that most people are maybe surprised by or haven't really thought of before, but to me it's one of the most aggravating. Next, we have Green Glade Caretaker. Now, this one is particularly annoying because of the power associated with it. Sheltering Glade. When the foe attacks, grant their attacking units 1/1 and give them Barrier. And then Caretaker, when ally gets Barrier, grant me 2 power, and it has Overwhelm. This is also in the... actually, no, this one's not in Galio. This one's in the Kaisa Adventure. So it's a pretty weak card, but every time they're attacking, they have Barrier, and they're getting more and more power with that Overwhelm. So, hope you have removal. If you don't have removal, you often going to get screwed over, and they are just going to overwhelm you, scale out of control. With their Overwhelm, even blocking doesn't matter. You block, they're not going to die because they have Barrier. So if you don't have any form of removal, you are going to lose the game, and I find this to be one of those most aggravating cards. Up next, Entomb. Now, this card, unlike most of them, doesn't have any special items on it or anything, but this is specifically annoying in the Tryndamere battle. So Tryndamere, he is the mini-boss in the Thresh Adventure, and it's already a very tough fight. Tryndamere, each round, the first time one of his units dies, it instead gets Overwhelmed, Fearsome, and Tough, and fully heals. So already really frustrating and hard to deal with. But then you probably have been working on some sort of game plan, and they just use Entomb and completely screw over your one path towards victory. So bye-bye whatever your win condition was. If it's your champion or a specific unit that you're really working on protecting, they play this and they just obliterate your unit for a couple rounds, and not really anything you can can do about it. Now, Spell Shield will block this, but quite often they have a cheap spell that they'll break your Spell Shield with first, and then they'll use this, completely getting rid of the one card you were using to try to win the adventure. So as if Tryndamere wasn't hard enough already, this just makes it even worse, and quite often they have a good amount of these in their deck, or at least that's what it seems like. So for another annoying spell, this one is specifically from the Viego boss fight, and really it is a slow death. So if they can get to the point of the game where they're playing these, what happens? What the item's on there is Grifter's Mark, I believe. Anyways, what it does, when they play this card, it shuffles extra versions of the card back into the opponent's deck, and those extra versions cost 1. And then they also have draw 1 added to this card, so quite often what happens, they play this once, and then they start playing 1-cost versions. So it's a slow spell, but it's just killing your unit and giving all of your units -2 this round. So sometimes near the end game, they'll be playing these back to back, just killing your entire board, reducing your attack, and there's really nothing you can do. One of the most frustrating abilities in Viego Fight, since at least with Vengeance, when they use a Vengeance card, you're like, okay, they used Vengeance, but at least that's one less Vengeance that they have. Every time they use Dawning Shadow here, they're putting more cheaper versions into their deck, and they're potentially drawing one every time they use this. Very tilting, very aggravating, and yeah, one of the most annoying spells in the game, in my opinion. So, lastly, Yeti Yearling. Now, the 8/9 here, normally it's going to be not that powerful. I got the photo of this partway through the game, but it's specifically very annoying with the power. So when the foe's Yeti dies, create an enraged Yeti in the top 3 cards of the opponent's deck. Grant Yetis everywhere 1/1, and they cost 1 less. So the Yeti Yearling, that item it has on Twin Shadows, when it's summoned, it summons a ephemeral copy of itself. So that means even if you don't kill it, it's still going to die at the end of the round, thereby triggering the power. Also, the Yeti Yearling, create 2 enraged Yetis in your deck. So not only is it putting an enraged Yeti in the top 3 cards of the deck, it's also putting 2 more enraged Yetis just randomly in their deck. And then it's triggering that power of Yetis everywhere, get 1/1 and cost 1 less. You can get incredibly bad luck, and they will play 2 of these in the first round, scaling up all of their Yetis everywhere immediately, and putting a bunch of very cheap, strong Yetis in the top of their deck. And it's, in my opinion, one of the most unfair cards in the game. I played this the first time against the Yeti or Angry Yetis. They played 2 of these to start the game, and since then I've almost never gone back. I see it and I always avoid it because it is just one of the most aggravating cards and unfair cards in the game, in my opinion. Alright, this was my list though of some of the most aggravating cards in the game. Definitely comment down below what you think of these cards, and what other cards really aggravate you when you're playing through your matches in Path of Champions. I hope you enjoyed the list, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for watching that video all the way to the end. We're putting out daily Path of Champions content, so if that interests you, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and maybe even consider becoming a member. Have a great day.